Hi everyone, it's Tom here from mixthatsound.com, and today I've just got a tutorial for you on how to master a song inside Logic Pro X. Now we've got the song that someone has sent us to be mastered. I'll just play it for you now. So there we go, and we've also got two reference tracks that we've added in. Now you can go back and see my previous tutorial on actually selecting reference tracks for mastering and how to set up the project properly with the limiter on this track that we're going to be mastering. So I'll just show you briefly. So we just added the limiter on so that the loudness was basically the same between the reference tracks and the track that we're mastering. So in this tutorial, I'm just going to be using the plugins that come inside Logic Pro X. So just the EQ, the multiband compressor, and the limiter. I mean, when we master people's songs, usually we'll use like more professional plugins like the API 2500, for example. But today I just thought I'd show you how to basically master a song just using the plugins that come inside Logic Pro. So to start off, we're just gonna play it and just compare it to our reference tracks and see how it's currently sitting. So I mean, so we've got two variations of reference tracks there. So I mean, we'll probably use the Get Lucky song as the main point of reference. So we just listen to that now. So first thing I hear is there's a little bit too much high end I feel in this song we're mastering. So I'm just going to open up the EQ and show you what we've done. So first thing we've done is removed all of the bottom end off the song to get rid of the unnecessary rumbles, and then filtered out the high end of the song. You know, all the really sort of really high end stuff that sort of really hurts your ears if you play it sort of a loud volume or whatever. So yeah, we've just taken out just minus 1.8 decibels at 5 kilohertz, and also just a little bit at 15,000 hertz. Again, not minus 1.3 decibels there. And so we'll just add that EQ and compare it to the Get Lucky song. So again, that's sounding much better compared to that song. And then also we've added a little bit of bass at the end, 1.6 decibels at 53 hertz, just because I felt the Daft Punk song and the Dr. Dre song had a little bit more bass than this song we're mastering. So that's why we added that. So I'll just take off the EQ and then put it on as I play it. So you might think it sounds better without the EQ, but when you compare it to the reference tracks, obviously with the EQ it is sort of matching up against those reference tracks a lot. So next we're going to look at a multi-band compressor that we've added. So we're actually just using this little band here. All the other bands have been bypassed, as you can see. So the reason we use that is there's a offbeat hi-hat. I don't know if you can hear it. It's like felt that was a bit too prominent in this area, so we've actually done our best to remove that. So if we solo it, you can just sort of try and locate it. But there are a lot of other, high-end elements around that point, so you've just got to kind of like deal with that and do the best you can. Yeah, so we've just got a ratio of 2.32, quite a small ratio. The attack is 26 milliseconds and the release is 15 milliseconds. Quite a fast release. And the attack was quite sort of short, just so we can actually like remove that initial transient off of that point. And then we're getting sort of around like 1 or 2 decibels of gain reduction. And instead of actually just having it level and removing it like that, what we've done is we've brought it up so that the point it reduces to is actually the 0 decibel level, if that makes sense. So like that in with the song. So I'll just just play this and just bypass this and then put it on again. It's going to be hard for you to hear the difference depending on what speakers you have. If you're like listening through laptop speakers, you probably won't sort of hear that much of a difference. It is sort of quite subtle, so just play this. Again, yeah, it's a really sort of subtle change. And then we've added a compressor in. Actually, I'll just play this compared to the reference tracks as well, just so you can hear what we've done.
Defeat, I rose to my feet. My life's like a sound.
And now I'll just take off the multiband compressor and the EQ so you can hear the difference. Again, yeah, it's sort of a really subtle change. And now this compressor that I've had open, just have a look at this. So the attack time was 20 milliseconds, so a fairly sort of medium-sized attack rate, and then a release of a fairly fast release, sort of 27 milliseconds. You don't want too long for mastering. It depends on the speed of the song, but you want it so that I'll just zoom in if I can. Yeah, you want it so that the compressor will release before it hits the next like peak in the song, next transient. So yeah, you just want to release so that it like sort of gets back to the level before the actual next transient. It's kind of fast. A lot of people use slow releases in mastering, but again, it really does depend on the song. Yeah, so I'll just engage that compressor so you can hear the difference. Again, it's not going to be that much difference. We've mainly just used this to like even out the dynamics and to so we can get that, you know, overall volume at the end. So yeah. Kind of a little bit different. It sounds much smoother through these speakers. It's probably hard. It depends which speakers you've got at home and how you're listening to it, but you might not sort of be able to tell the difference between that. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Just once you think you're finished, just compare between the, you know, sort of all of them, and just hear how they sound really. I mean, we could probably get a bit more loudness out of this, to be honest. So just fiddle about with the limiter a bit. Better because we've used the light compressors, it's brought the actual volume down before the limiter, if that makes sense. So yeah, that's sort of better volume. And you can compare on this multimeter as well, compare the actual like levels of your song on the reference tracks. So I mean, that's hitting sort of like a similar thing, and it's important as well to this bar just here, the last one, not sort of have any of that, which we've actually removed with the filter at the top, because that's sort of like the extreme high end that you just sort of want to avoid. Yeah, so you can hear when the songs sort of don't have any sort of level. So yeah, that's that, and yeah, that's pretty much finished. I mean, this is just sort of like a basic tutorial on how to actually basically master your songs, really, just using the plugins that come inside Logic Pro X. So yeah, the most important thing is, you know, referencing against current releases that sound similar to the vibe you want to create, and also just sort of like experimenting with EQ and trying to sort of match the, you know, the spectrums from each track and get them sort of sounding as similar as possible. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I hope it's been helpful, and yeah, you can put this into practice and hopefully your songs will sound much better.